Okay, I'm going to show you some editing techniques I want you to practice with this image from your oil, water, soap pictures. One thing I forgot to mention when I was giving instructions is that you could use a colorful background on your phone like this picture right here, and that would illuminate the bubbles a little bit better. Also, you do have to back off of the water to take the picture like this one is showing you right here. And then in Photoshop, we're going to edit that, crop it, and focus in on the area we want to show in the picture. So this is my raw image right out of the camera. And then I'm going to show you how to enhance it, crop it, and make it look better. So the big thing is when you're taking this pictures to make sure you're focusing on the bubbles, not the background. And the first thing I want to do is brighten it up a little bit. So over here we have, let's see, I'm going to change my display. Okay, it's on photography. My layers panel here. Down here in the bottom you have lots of different adjustments, and we're going to be using these to enhance the picture. So the first thing I want to click on is brightness and contrast. So if I needed to brighten up the picture, I could use this one or darken it, which in this case I actually might bring down the brightness just a little bit and then add some contrast to really make the colors pop. And then I'm going to click back to my layers panel. So this adds one layer. Then I will add, say, a levels layer. Levels adjust the lights and the darks of the picture. So if you notice, if I drag the dark slider, it adjusts the darkness of the picture. Versus if I adjust the light slider, it adjusts the light or the highlights of the picture. And then this gray one does the midtone, so in between. So I actually might drag this one a little bit to darken that down, and then you see that those pop just a little bit more. Then we can add curves. Curves work similar to like the levels layer, but I like to use them each for different things. So notice that that brightness came back when I used the curves layer. So these are individual layers that I've already added. We could use hue and saturation, and that will allow you to make colors more saturated. These ones are already pretty saturated, so if I increase the saturation, it would make them too much. But I could probably do it a little bit, or you can totally desaturate, which means to take away color. So I might add just a little bit, and then I could adjust light, dark right here, and then we can actually adjust the different tones of the colors, which is kind of cool. Or if we bring that back to 0, these are all at 0 when you start, so if you want to redo things, you can do that. If you hit this colorize button, it will actually color the picture just one solid color, and you can pick on the slider. So if you've ever wanted to colorize just one thing, this is a way you could do that. You could highlight whatever, maybe it's someone's eyes. You highlight the eyes, and then you can click the colorize button after you use hue and saturation and do that. But I actually like all the colors in this picture, so I'm going to leave it like that. The last thing I'm going to do is crop the picture, and then when I crop, I usually crop to whatever size I'm printing. So if you were in class, I would have you crop this to an 8x10 or a 10x8. This picture goes horizontal, so it'd be 10x8. You're going to click on your crop tool, change this to height, width, and resolution. When you're printing, you want to be on that one because I can type in a 10x8. And then I can say I want it to remain at 300 pixels per inch, which is what you want a picture at when you print it, at least 300. then it's good print quality resolution. So I can actually resize this and cut out all that stuff that you can't see and really focus in on one area. I could actually, I feel like, make it into 2 different pictures, but I think I'll stay right about here. I don't know, I kind of like those bubbles too. And then you could actually click out to the side, and if I wanted to rotate this, I could rotate it to almost fit those in there and leave some black on the edge, but I might bring that in just a little bit here. So you can use that crop tool to crop in. And then I decide, I don't like that black, so I'm going to just do Control Z to undo it. But where I'm not printing, I could change this, say, to 12, which would give me a longer picture, and then I could actually fit all of that in there. So for this assignment where we're not printing because we're not here, go ahead and crop to the size you want, but make sure your resolution stays at 300. Then it won't ruin the quality of the picture. So I'll bring that in, and then just right click and hit crop. So now if I zoom in, those bubbles are pretty detailed because I focused on them when I took the picture, which allowed that background to blur. So you want a shorter depth of field or a short f-stop number in your camera. If you took pictures and you don't like how they turned out, try putting a light source underneath your container, like a phone, or I think this was an iPad that I used. So putting that under there, you just Google a bright color on your screen, turn up the brightness all the way, and then you have that pop of color, and it should allow you to focus easily on these bubbles. So if you go back to my original picture, you can see how far back I am from there, but because I'm focused on those bubbles and the camera has a high enough resolution, when I crop, you can crop out all that unnecessary stuff and really focus in on what you're trying to. So this is your end goal, something like this. Try it with the phone, experiment, but I want to see at least, I think in the instructions I put 6 pictures edited. So go through these steps, crop them, add hue and saturation, brightness, contrast, levels, and curves. There's lots of other things you can do if you really want to experiment. In Photoshop, you can go to Filter and the Filter Gallery. And in the Filter Gallery, you can add all sorts of different effects to your picture. I usually do this with a different assignment, but because of the current state we're in, I'm going to show you right now. Filter Gallery, it will pop up with a screen like this. Whatever layer you're clicked on over here will show up in this box. So if I was clicked on one of these layers, it would be a white box. So make sure you are clicked on your background layer when you do this step. So we could change it to look like colored pencils, a cutout. Here, let me zoom out and then you can see the whole picture. These filters are really cool, so they're kind of fun to play around with. And this one makes it look like it's wrapped in plastic. A painting, sponged. And then over here you can adjust how much of that effect is coming through. So that's something else you could do. Those are artistic ones. There's brush strokes, so you can make it look splattered. We can distort it, make it look like ocean ripples. A sketch. This gives it like a wallpaper texture. Glowing edges. Oh, that's kind of cool. And texture. So those are some other fun things you can play with in Photoshop. When you're finished, turn that in the best, easiest way for you. Give me before and after pictures, and then I will post a Google slide today as well that I want you to add your photo, your favorite one, and your name, and that way the whole class can see what everybody else was able to do like I would do in class. When you're finished, if you want to apply that one, you hit OK, and then it will update on here. And then just do files, and if you do save as, file, save as, you can click as a copy, and then it will save your file the same name but with copy at the end, and then you'll have your before and after picture, not save over the original.